Hi, I'm Vic Braden. I've wanted to make a women's doubles video for years. I have worked with women's doubles teams for over 4 decades, and it's always been great for me. 3 reasons. They work their guts out, they really want to improve, and we have a ton of fun while we're working out. Now, the kind of video I've always wanted to make is one where we take actual points, not contrived points, actual points, and then analyze them for their strengths and their weaknesses. Remember that it takes guts for women to put themselves on the line in front of 2 cameras in front of the tennis world. So this was not an easy task, and especially when they see the weaknesses sometimes more than their strengths. I wish we could have shown all of their elegant strokes, but we couldn't. There just wasn't enough time. Keep in mind that these women have all been very successful on their own level, and we've shown all levels of play, from 3.5 all the way up through pro tennis. Now, I want to tell you that it's never been boring for me, never, working with women's doubles teams, because no 2 teams are alike, and they're not alike because they choose partners for different reasons.
She sets me up. She sets me up perfectly every time, so I go in for the kill. She makes me feel comfortable, keeps me in the points, keeps me playing at the net, aggressive.
We're both short. Well, I'm rather unorthodox myself, and I consider myself more the setter.
So she calms me down, and I'm more like a squirrely player. And I picked Sharon because she's about the only one who would play with me.
She's everywhere on the court.
She's adaptable. I usually like to play backhand, and she'll play forehand, and she's consistent.
I tend to be a little stronger on the backhand because I have a fairly good overhead.
I'm really a doubles player. I've never played singles. I can rely more on myself and my speed in singles, whereas I'm a little confused in doubles at times.
She has the best ground stroke I've ever seen, forehand, and so she does set up the person at the net.
I usually stay back, and so we just kind of slug it out, or it's just a series of mistakes.
One part of it is that you always have
We want you to understand the role of each of the 4 players. And if you'll follow these principles, everything else will make sense to you, and you'll know how to practice. You know, the serve is the first ball hit in every point in the history of the sport. So let's get to it. The role of the server. The server's job is to serve a ball which will produce the highest and longest ball on the service return. Why? If you're the server, you want to come in on a nice high volley because you can put it away. Plus, if you produce a high ball from the receiver, they can't hit short angles at your feet and move you out to the side of the court. If you're playing with a partner who has a great service return, you are in good hands. So let's take a look at the role of the receiver. The receiver's job is just the opposite. The receiver wants to put pressure on the server. How do you do that? You return at the server's feet. If the server has to bend down and hit a low ball, a half volley or a low volley, that's a tough shot, and they very often miss the shot. If the server is hitting from a low position, they have to hit up. That allows the receiver and her partner to come right on top of the net, because if the server hits that low ball up hard, the ball will go out. So you know you can be comfortable moving forward and you're going to get a shot. If the receiver does her job, then she's going to need a good partner. Now let's take a look at the role of the receiver's partner. The partner of the receiver is totally dependent upon the receiver's return. If the receiver hits at the feet of the onrushing server, that server has to hit up. That allows the partner of the receiver to crowd right on top of the net. And the great partners of receivers I have seen think that they own from net post to net post. They are not afraid of anything. Why? Because when the person has to hit up, they can't hit it hard or it goes out. But the partner of the receiver has to be ready to take anything net post to net post. So what if the receiver hits a high ball? Well, the server's coming in for the big kill. So the partner of the receiver has to back up, or they're going to end up wearing the logo of the ball. If the service return is over the head of the serving team, the receiving team matches them step for step. They get to the net. So when the serving team is arriving at the ball, the receiving team already owns the net. If the server's having a great day throwing that big bomb in there, then the point belongs to the partner of the server. The partner of the server is the key person. They're saying, you will never get me to stay in this circle. Never, and you will get nothing by me. Nothing. You know, in my 4 decades of working with doubles teams, the ones that have become famous not only because of stroke production, but because of good footwork. So it's time to practice footwork. When I bend down, can you get any movement backwards before I even strike the ball? Remember, the drill is before I hit the ball, were you able to get any movement back? Don't worry about hitting the ball right now. The deal is to get footwork before I strike the ball. And if you have good strokes and good footwork, the only thing that's going to keep you away from Wimbledon is good anticipation. Anticipation's the name of the game. If I'm going to drive, you've got to go forward fast. And if I'm going to lob, see, when I drop, you got to go back. That's a good drill to practice. Now, if you get started late, you're going to hit the ball over your head, and it's going to look like this. You're going to get caught late behind you. If you can get 2 steps forward, you're going to get a volley at a very, very high position. But if you don't get those steps, you're going to be in deep trouble. For instance, look at this ball. It's way up here. If she would have had 2 steps instead of 1, look where she would have been volleying. But instead, she's volleying from this point, and look what happens. The ball hits the net, and she's lucky it bounced over the net. But at the same time, she's going to be in trouble on the next shot. All because she got 1 step and not 2. And believe it or not, everyone who plays this game before they hit the shot will give you some clue to what's coming your way. It's all about clues. Is Melody going to drive? Yes, she drives. Is she going to drive again? Nope, she lobs. Let's take a look at both shots at the same time and see if we can practice anticipating the shot. Here's one little telltale sign. Sometimes when they're going to lob, they lean on the back foot. Another sign is sometimes the front arm. If they're going to drive the ball, it's closer to the body. And if they're going to lob the ball, it's further away from the body. Now take a look at the racket head and the distance from the ball. If they're going to lob, they very often drop this racket head very low into here. But if they're going to drive, you'll see the ball on this level and the racket head on this level. And if you get very accustomed to looking at that space, you can very often tell whether you should be taking 2 steps forward if it's this shot, and 3 or 4 steps backwards quickly if it's this shot. A big key to playing good doubles is to take as few steps as possible. You'll do that when you learn to move with the ball. Well, we've been working on drills to keep the ball from going over your head. What about around you? This is a great drill. Take a rope that's about 10 or 11 feet long, hold it with your partner, keep it taut, and keep the person on the other side of the net right between you, halfway between you on nearly every shot except the sideline shot. you'll be moving better than you ever dreamed. Well, let's take a look and see how the women do it. Judy's job is to serve and get way in here for her second shot. Wendy's a little too far over. She should be right in the center of that box. So let's take a look. Judy's ready to go. Judy's serving. She's got to get that ball way out in front. It's a nice serve. Does she get way in front of that service line? The answer is she does not. She's right on the line with this foot. She should be in here if she can. Look at the shot that Jeanette Moen hit right down at the feet. That's a dream shot. Now, Judy C. is supposed to come forward. Jeanette's supposed to come all the way in here. Do they do it? Nope. Neither Jeanette nor Judy come in. Judy is stuck. She sees one of the greatest low volley lobs in the history of the game, and she yells out the most commonly word used ever in doubles, yours. But she'll take this side. Is Jeanette coming forward? Nope, she loves it back here. She's going back now to throw up another lob. The job of these two players is to go forward if it's going to be a drive or backwards if it's going to be a lob. Now, we'll find out. Do they get the movement before the ball is struck? We'll see. Here it comes. She's getting ready to hit. What does it look like to you, folks? A drive or a lob? It's a lob. But does Judy B go backwards? Nope. She makes a mistake. But now the lob is short, so she's lucky. She gets in, but she only gets one step. You really want two so you can put it away. But she makes a smart play. She hits it at the feet of Judy C. But don't worry, baby. Judy C's got all kinds of shots from a low position. Now, the job of Judy B and Wendy is to move forward. Do they? Nope. Wendy's stuck right here, and she was supposed to be moving forward. Look at Judy C. She digs a sensational shot off of her shoelaces. But Wendy's stuck in a low position. Now she hits a nice volley. It gets back to midcourt. It should have been a setup for Jeanette, but Jeanette wasn't there. Now Jeanette is falling. And now when she's falling, they're supposed to move forward. Do they do it? Nope. Wendy's still here. Judy B is still here. But luckily she gets a high volley from Jeanette. She knows what to do with it. She hits it right at Judy C. Now Judy C's in trouble again. But don't count Judy C out. She can dig up anything. And these two players should be here now. Another brilliant shot from Judy C. Look at Wendy. She's stuck here and Judy's stuck, but they're praying a lot. Wendy's trying to wish it out. Look at Judy and Jeanette. They think they got a winner. But no, it's out of there, at least by 2 inches. And Wendy says to Vic, "You worry too much, Vic. We knew we had it all the way." You know, a key to good practice sessions is to practice in exactly the same manner as you'll be expected to perform. It's drill time. And so it's important to drill moving forward at the net on a low ball so that you can put the volley away. Here's Flash Wilkerson. Starts a little late, pays the price. She loves the net, too. Here comes Janet, starts late, smiling, but hits a low volley. She's in a little trouble. Vicky gets a fast first step. Look how easy it is if you get the fast first step. When your opponent bends down, go. Marlene says, "I got you, Coach." She's in there. She almost hit me with the ball. Here comes Squirrely. Can she do it? It's really nothing, folks. Here comes Sally. First time at the net since April. But not too bad, but she starts slow. You can see why she likes to stay back and slug it out. And for Sandy, it was pretty easy. Here comes Sharon again. A little late. It's so easy to miss when you could have been on top of the net. Flash Wilkerson, 0 for 2. That's not her style. When someone hits a deep lob over your head, you can run back faster running forward rather than backwards. Deep lobs, how to handle them. And so it's obvious if they hit over your head, you've got to go fast. Now, what you want to do is turn and run. The minute you see that racket coming up and it's a lob, turn and run back. That's it, run back. Don't look over your shoulder the full way. Look at that lob. It's way back by the fence. If you lob over your opponent's head, rush right back in and take it away. Let me show you why Tracy was so successful covering that deep lob. She turned around and ran back. Watch, Darcel on the left, she'll backpedal. On the right, she'll turn and run. So both Darcels on 3. 1, 2, 3, go! Look at Darcel run backwards. I haven't seen anybody run that fast backwards in my entire life. Now we're going to show you in slow motion exact times for each movement. Watch Darcel on the left. People going back for overheads don't normally move this fast. She is really quick. But even at that, she makes it there in 3 seconds and 13/30ths of another second. But look at how far this Darcel has gotten in the same amount of time. So this Darcel could turn around if it's a shorter lob and be hitting moving forward, and if she hits a good shot, regain the net. This Darcel's weight is moving backwards. I want to really play with this Darcel. Now watch how the elegant players in team tennis do it. Martina serves. Gets the return. Boy, that baby is a nice lob. Martina runs back. But look what happens. The Newport Dukes crowd the net. Amy Fraser of the Dukes hits a nice overhead. Good footwork. Produces an air. They're right on top of the net. Smart tennis. If you have a good serve and you know how to follow that baby into the net, you absolutely dictate the nature of the play. Boy, that serve really dictates how the doubles game is played. Watch Martina. She knows it as well as anybody. She serves now. She doesn't loaf. Look how fast she digs in to get there. She gets a nice high volley that she wanted. She produces an air. It's so important when you're serving in doubles is to hit the ball way out in front and be on a dead run. But you'll see that she throws the ball high. Her body weight is behind the line and falling backwards. That way, she's not going to get into the net. She's going to get caught here at her feet. She should be out leaning like this when she hits that ball. We'll show you how to do that. But first, let's take a look at Sharon's feet. Her back foot should be coming across, but notice she puts it behind her front foot, and her body weight is almost straight up. She's not going forward. If she did this right, threw the ball lower and further in front, this foot would be way out in here, and she'd already be well on her way to the net. I put a piece of tape on the court where Sharon usually lands on her third step, and she gets caught here a lot for low volleys. She's pretty far away from the service line. That means she's going to have to bend down and make a very difficult shot. Let's see how far we can get her in by throwing the ball further in front of her and lower. This time Sharon throws the ball lower and further out in front. Now watch the third step. Look where it is, how much further it is than this tape back here. Now notice that her body weight is going forward also. She gets out of that split step, now moves forward way ahead of the line for her first volley. This means she's going to catch a much higher volley. Well, you saw the old serve. Let's look at the new one, the one that gets her way out there in front. Look at that forward movement. She's way out there. I love that kind of forward motion because she's on the dead run. But look at the old one. You'll see a major difference. A high toss, body weight is off balance. Look at the body weights this way. Now look at the ball. It's up here. It's coming down in this area. Look at the shoulder. It's right over the line. But on the new one, she's way out forward. The shoulder line is way ahead of the line. And the ball is being hit way up in this area. She's on the dead run, and that's what's going to produce a nice high volley. A last look at Sharon's old serve. Notice how she falls backwards, starts in, and then she gets caught right in this zone. Look at that. Eat your heart out, gang. It's going to be the last time you ever see Sharon there. She's always going to be here from now on. The only time to rest in doubles is between points. During the point, be ready for anything. Keep your elbows in front of your body. Buying time is everything in doubles. Everything happens so fast. Here's Judy C. returns perfectly to Wendy. Now Judy C. looks like she has the advantage, but look, her elbows are right in against her body here. And that's going to put her in deep trouble because she can't get out of the way of the ball. The ball now is hit on the frame of the racket right at the throat. Carry your elbows out in front. It's awkward, but it will never produce a shot like this. How to play. When you're at midcourt, you can still get caught, so you want to make sure these elbows are in front. Look, if Judy had been here with her elbows, that volley would have been easy for her. But when her arms are in against her body, now she's going to get caught. I say the secret to a good low volley is learn to use the shoulder joint rather than the wrist joint. Low volleys are awfully tough, and when you get a low volley, you want to learn to use the shoulder. Here's Flash Wilkerson using a forearm. See how she turns the racket under with the forearm? That drags the racket down, and it's a very dangerous way to volley off of low balls. Janet does the same thing. She comes in, bends down, and rather than coming up from the shoulder, which we're going to show you, she volleys with the forearm, the racket head drops, and that drags the ball now down into the net. The trick is to take low volleys and learn to lift from the shoulder for success. And in this demo, you'll see that my shoulder's free. I don't attach it to the upper body and make a stiff motion, nor do I let the racket head drop. The racket stays up. Now watch in slow motion. You'll see that when we stop the racket face, it looks like this. The ball is coming in on this angle, which is about 90 degrees to the flight pattern of the racket. The racket was going up to meet the ball at this angle. The racket was not going down when it struck the ball. Now if you do that, you'll find out that this ball will go back at about the same flight pattern from which it arrived. Now another thing that'll help you personally, Vic, is to lay off those low-cal donuts. What I will do is show you in editing how many low volleys that you all missed because you're playing from the forearm on the low volley. And if you're just a little, and so you got a drag going this way, you got a force going down, and you're having to calculate how much bevel to make the ball go up. But if you would play from the shoulder joint on the low volleys, you wouldn't hit the net. So you're playing from the forearm instead of from the shoulder. And the only way to learn to use the shoulder instead of the wrist and forearm is to practice. Again, it's drill time. Melanie's first effort was a little bit long. You don't have to go quite that far, and you don't have to add those little movements. The second one really shows why you want a simple movement, because you want the ball to be on the center of the strings. Watch, the ball hits off center. There's quite a bit of deflection. But even with all of the deflection in that racket, the ball still went over the net. Diane is a wonderful player. I say she takes a little bit of a gamble. She lays the racket head back here, way back, and there's a lot of racket head play. And then she starts coming down to the ball. And as she comes down, she has to bevel the racket to make sure that the ball goes up. That's dangerous, in my opinion, too many calculations. And I'll show you a better way, in my opinion. Besides being a good player, she's a good sport. Diane agreed to try it. Now watch the volley form on this. You'll see that her racket will be going up in the direction that the ball is coming into her racket. So it's almost a flat volley from a low position. But watch how clean this is. There's no way that that ball is going to be dragged down into the net. Super shot, Diane, you little devil. Watch Luzanne. She takes the toughest shot, only inches off the court, and still lifts the ball up over the net, coming from the shoulder up rather than hacking down. Most people who hack down on that shot would have driven it into the net. What a play. Watch Sue. She practiced it. Actually, it's a little long there. She doesn't even need that much, just to make sure you get the lift. Now, she didn't trust it, didn't get much on that first lift, and she hit the ball into the net. But after that, everyone went back nice and deep. The low, tough volleys. Let's look at the results of a forearm volley from a very low position. Good playing, good playing. Oops, there comes a forearm volley. Right into the net. See that racket turn under? The racket was falling down. That's a drag volley, I call it. Deep trouble. As Melanie serves, keep an eye on her partner, Diane. Remember, Diane has a tendency to go down on volleys. Watch. The racket's falling down. I call it a drag. There it goes down. The ball is heading towards the net. Doesn't clear. It goes into the net. Just a slight lift at the shoulder. She would have made it over the net. Still been in the point. Did you know that over 50% of all errors on volleys, the ball goes into the net? Key thing to remember, don't hit down on volleys. A major lesson for all volleyers. Never hit down on the volley unless you're standing right on top of the net. Gravity is so powerful. Watch Sandy on this one. You'll see she's set for the volley. It's an easy one, but she's 10.5 feet back from the net. She has a slight down hit, and bingo, the ball's into the net. Gravity is so powerful. We'll show you how to volley out, at what height you should plan your racket head on the follow-through. Take a look at this next scene. Now, Sandy was facing the net. I'm sideways. That's a much better way to go. But look, even the slightest down hit pulls the ball into the net. Now, watch what happens. You'll see I'll follow the racket down, and you'll see this kind of motion. Not bad at all. But look at what happens to the ball. right into the net. What you're looking for is to hit the ball out on this plane. Hitting down is catastrophic. You know, there's a perfect place for you to hit every volley, and that's through a window. So you better know your volley window. If you watch now with Vicky volleying, the ball's falling under the 4-foot mark. But Coach Brent Root's catching the ball just behind the service line. Look at this ball. It's going to the 4-foot mark, a foot higher than the net. And this ball will still fall short. Now see her racket head drop? It'd be better if she, at this speed, hit the ball closer to the 5-foot mark. Now she'll keep the ball deep, be ready to move in on the next shot, close off the volley, and get a 130-degree angle. That would be a big issue. Never hit down unless you're right on top of the net. Now we'll watch Vicky from a different angle. Notice the ball is coming down. I would be able to kill that shot. It would land at midcourt, and I could put a lot of pressure on Vicky. Now she's starting to volley out. She's getting the feeling she volleyed a little too far out in front of her that time, but this is one you want. Right here. That ball was coming deep back to me. I caught it about waist high. It had been right inside the baseline. Good shot, Vicky, baby. Even 5.5 level players make the same mistake. Watch Luzanne on the other side. The nice setup, ball hits the net. Let's take a look at it now in slow motion. Watch the down hit. Here it comes. And you'll see that ball is coming down, 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 down. And look, it hits the net near the bottom of the net, not at tape level. Well, that's Luzanne. Now watch Sue get into trouble. 5.5 level players. They got a house full of trophies, but they can still make the same mistake. The down hit, it's so easy to make. Look at it now in slow motion. Nice shot here from Melanie. Nice shot from Luzanne. Nice volley from Sue. Sue's got the sitter. That's the one she wants. She makes the down hit, and look what happens, folks. Right down into the net, into the bottom of the net. For all you volleyers, I want you to watch a scene from our Science and Myths of Tennis video with Dr. Howard Brody and myself. This will tell you all you want to know about gravity parabolas. And it's so important to volleyers and to people who want to go somewhere in this game. You know, Howard, at our Sports Research Center, we consult with physicists all the time. But it's really funny, in the tennis field, players and coaches alike very often think, hey, you physicists are eggheads. You're not too practical.
Vic, I've been watching tennis for years, and I've been watching players lose at tennis for years. And they lose because they try to beat the laws of nature. You can't beat the laws of nature. You can use those laws to beat your opponent. And when they hit a ball out, it's the laws of nature that are making it go out.
Yeah, and people are still hitting it out, too. They're knocking that ball all over the place. Forced errors never outnumber just simple mistakes. People really lose matches because they make too many mistakes. People win matches because their opponent makes too many mistakes. It's as simple as that. And the most common mistake that I've seen in tennis still remains the same around the world. People hit the ball into the net.
And they hit it into the net because they don't remember the law of gravity. If I were to hit a ball perfectly horizontally from the baseline at 50 miles an hour, not only would it not go over the net, it might not even reach the net. And I can show you this. I've set up a ball machine at the baseline to throw balls at exactly 50 miles an hour horizontally. And we can see just where these balls land.
So if I hit a 50-mile-per-hour shot on a horizontal plane, the ball doesn't even reach the net. So now I need to know this, Howard. How high do I have to elevate the 50-mile-per-hour shot to make it go over the net and land near the baseline?
Let me calculate that. If you hit the ball at 50 miles an hour and you want it to land near the baseline, you should elevate it about 14 degrees above the horizontal, and then it'll go across the net at about 8 feet above the ground.
It's always fun to put the physicist to the test. Look at that baby, right at the 8-foot mark. But where does it land? Right where Howard said it would land, about 20 inches inside the baseline. So what does all this scientific information have to do with volleyers? Well, remember what Howard did. He set a ball machine here. It's 39 feet to the net. He sent a ball out of the machine on a horizontal plane at 50 miles an hour, and the ball hit the bottom of the net. Now, if you're volleying, you're 10.5 feet back from that net approximately when you begin. Now, if you take this data from Howard, you'll see that from this distance to the baseline on the other side is 49.5 feet. Now you know that you can hit a volley from here, starting from a 4-foot height, hit it on a horizontal plane, and it will still drop inside about 10.5 feet when it's hit 50 miles per hour. The implication is simple. Don't hit down on volleys unless you're right on top of the net. And now let's look at it from a side angle. If you are volleying from here, your original position, you are about 10.5 feet away from this net. That means that you could start at a 4-foot height to volley. That's about chest height. Volley on a horizontal plane, 50 miles an hour, and the ball will drop approximately 10.5 feet away from this baseline. So don't hit down. Hey, you want to run your opponent as far as you can on your volley. And here's how you're going to be able to hit a 130-degree angle. Remember, we're constantly encouraging players from this position to take 2 steps forward. 1, 2. Why is that so important? Because when you're volleying on top of the net, you got a 130-degree angle. 130, that is major. But if you're volleying from back here, you only get about 30 degrees. So I'm saying if you're volleying from this position right here, you're better to go for depth. Keep it deep and wait for the next opportunity to get 2 steps. It is so easy to hit sharp angles when you're on top of the net, but it is so hard to earn your way up there. You know, I've always heard that you should stop when you volley. Well, I've got news for you, folks. If you're running up at midcourt, if you're not on top of the net, I think you should run through your volleys. The person we want you to watch is Judy B in the black skirt. See if she moves forward. Not on that one. On this one? Nope, not on that one, and she pays the price. Now let's watch it in slow motion. You'll see this racket's coming straight across, so Judy B is supposed to be forward. Does she go forward? Nope, she doesn't move an inch. And she hits the ball back down the center. But remember, Jeanette is fast. She likes singles. She gets to the ball. But remember, when she bends down like this, Judy B is supposed to go forward. Judy B gets a second chance. Does she take it? Nope. Judy still is moving laterally. She does not go forward. And she pays the price. She's a little upset about it all, but we're going to show her how to do it perfectly in this next demo, and she'll be great. Now watch, Judy, as I run through my volley, my head stays still. Now I'll do it in slow motion along a yellow line. And watch, my head stays near that yellow line. If my head didn't stay near that yellow line, if I stopped and volleyed, my head would pull down, and the racket head would simultaneously go down. But if you'll keep your head still and run on a parallel plane with your head, your volleys are going to go nice and deep and won't hit the net. We worked with Judy B. Watch her now, the new Judy B. Watch her run through the volley. 3.5 player dynamite. Look at this, folks. Through the ball.
Yeah. All right.
An animal. Let's watch it from the side view. If you run through the volley, then your racket stays up. It won't drop. Watch this racket on Judy. It'll stay up. You see that? It doesn't drop down. If you stop and volley, the forces push you down, and it often pulls the ball into the net. Run through the volley wherever possible. Beautiful shot. Keep your eye on the receiver. That's Luzanne. A great service return. She comes through, stops as she volleys, and the racket is pulled down from the force of stopping. Watch it in slow motion. You'll see the front leg land. That pulls the body down. So let's go up. She's high. Now she's down. She's up. Now she's down. And the racket's doing exactly the same thing. The racket is falling down. Try to stop, see where the ball's coming, then run through the volley. On this side, Sue serving, Luzanne, her partner, excellent volleyers. But they are getting out-hustled by this girl, Melanie. Watch, she's still moving forward. Step number 2, and still moving forward. She won't stop. She keeps going. Step number 3. Now, look who's going to wear it. Luzanne, who's really juiced a lot of people in her day. Nice smile, Luzanne, but guess who's happy on the other side of the net? You know how intermediate players are always trying to hit down the alleys? Well, the great players don't do that. They know exactly how to use the middle of the court. Where should I hit my volley, or where should I hit my shot if I'm approaching the net? Here comes Luzanne. She makes the right choice. Down the center. If you hit down the center, you have over 45 feet of length usually, and you create this kind of confusion. Sue's serving, and her partner Luzanne certainly knows how to play the center. Look at the ball. Luzanne moves over to the side. Melanie's supposed to be here. She's not there. She's in trouble. Luzanne plays it beautifully down the middle. Need I say more? You know, most great players tell me there's nothing worse than to play with a player who's a permanent fixture in one place at the net. Remember what Sharon had to say about her partner Barbara, who calls herself Squirrely?
She does move. She's everywhere on the court, and I think it'll be fun.
All right, she is. Squirrely is everywhere. Boy, it is so nice to see someone move at the net. Watch this. You see Sally moving this way? Boy, does Barbara do the job right. She moves to the right when the opponent hitting the ball moves to the left. She's in perfect position. She's not afraid to get over the center stripe. And when she goes that way, she juices Sandy out there. Now, Sharon's job is to go over on this side and cover for her so that she doesn't have to double back. Sharon's a little slow there, but she knows that Squirrely can put it away. Boy, I really like this because watch the elbows. Barbara is ready. They're way off from the body. So now she can catch that ball out in front. She won't get caught in against her body. So many people make that mistake. Barbara's eyes are watching the movement. Remember, Sally moved to the left, and bingo, the minute she spotted that, she's out of there. Squirrely, just come into the net a little bit more. Go at a diagonal. Now remember, as you see it in slow motion, if you hit the ball on your side of the net and your follow-through goes across the net, that's still legal. Just make certain that you do not touch any part of the net with your skin or clothing. Now, if you don't get in on top of the net, let me show you what's going to happen. The ball's coming over the net, and it's way up there high, but you weren't there. So now the ball drops, and you have to make a great low volley. Just too tough. Watch Melanie at the net. She's got to go fast. Perfect. The partner of the server has got to be ready to go. Watch Melanie. She takes a look. She sees it's going to be a cross court. She takes off. She's all the way over here. Now look at the distance that she has traveled there. That is a long way to go. Now Diane's job is to get over on this side quickly, get up to the net, just in case Melanie does not put it away. But we'll see what happens here. She puts it away, but now she's on this side of the line at the net. Now it's Diane's job to cover this side. What would have happened had Sue returned that ball over to this side? Actually, that shot belongs to this person. So you've got to really hustle. This time Melanie poaches and she's not as successful. But what do you do with a partner who likes to poach a lot? The answer is you want to be darn thankful that a poacher will even play with you. Now, as we see it again in slow motion, watch what happens. Melanie at the net decides to go, but she's got a lot of pressure on this player. Just misses by inches, and she would have won that point. We have a tendency to think about the shots that the poacher loses. We have a tendency to forget about how many points they won with all the pressure they put on the opponents. When your partner poaches and misses a shot, give them support. Say, way to go, baby. You know, if you're playing doubles against one player who always stays back, think of it as discovering gold. You know, when the server stays back, there are so many opportunities to poach at the net. Here's Jeanette. She spots it. She keeps the ball away from Judy. Now, Wendy's hitting the ball, but up comes Judy. She has plenty of time, plays it down the middle. A smart play. You know, when the server stays back, you should never let him get away with that. Jeanette's job now on the other side is to hit this ball about 6 feet up over the net so it takes a nice high bounce, bounces deep, and then up to Wendy. But she's got to keep it away from the net player. Now, if the net player is a dangerous net poacher, then you have to play the return quite low to the net. But if they're not, then play a little bit higher. That'll give this player much more time to move. Let's see what happens. Well, Jeanette does her job. It's a little bit lower than I like to see it, because you see when you play the ball close to the tape, it'll land close to midcourt and it bounced about waist height. But in this case, you're lucky, because if you look here, Wendy's on her back foot. She's not stepping into the ball, and that gives Judy all kinds of opportunities to be thinking about going this direction. Judy smells a kill. Look at that. She is so ready. Bingo. Her eyes don't get off of that ball. She's already moving to the right. She knows exactly what to do to the ball down the center, because Wendy's coming in. One shot too late. Did you know that most airs in singles, the ball goes into the net? Well, in doubles, there's no difference. You've got to lift your ground strokes. Remember earlier when we showed you the dangers of hitting straight across your body on a horizontal plane? Hitting the ball 50 miles per hour on a horizontal plane doesn't even reach the net in most cases. Well, let's see how that applies to the service return and hitting ground strokes from the baseline. Well, Jeanette will serve to Judy. Judy will lift the ball. Jeanette will not. Watch. Judy lifts, fine. Jeanette does not so fine. Now I want you to watch the swing of the service return. Here's Judy B. Watch, the racket is high. Can you see how she's gone from low to high? She's lifted the ball up over the net. Now we'll take a look at Jeanette's swing. Even though both players hit the ball at approximately the same speed, Judy B's went over the net because she lifted it, and now you see Jeanette is swinging around her body. She's hitting on a horizontal plane. Why does she do that? One of the reasons is this link right here. She's keeping it against her body, stopping it, and that forces the racket to go around in this direction. She should take this link and lift it up in the sky a little bit more. But watch the result of this shot. You know, when your opponents throw you up a short lob, you can't say, play two, I don't take anything over my head. You've got to know how to hit an overhead. They smile an awful lot about the volley, but when it comes to the overhead, that's another ballgame.
And I really don't have an overhead that I would brag about.
Mm-hmm. Why don't you have an overhead?
I don't know. Honest, I do not know. I would really like to have one, and I have tried. I really have tried, because I can serve reasonably well, but I don't know. I really don't know.
Before we go to the court to show Marlene the solution for her overhead, watch what happens when you don't have an overhead. Your partner takes this one because that's her shot. But this is your shot, Marlene. But you don't want to take it because you don't have the confidence. But great shot, Bernice. Well, Marlene, what I saw was you were facing the net. You were hitting down on the ball and pushing it. You've got to keep your chin up. Now watch the secret to this whole ball game. You got to find a way to hit this ball up. You're going up with the racket, and as you get to the top, you're starting to go forward, but you're not hitting it down. You'll see that at the impact point here, your racket actually is about an 8-degree up hit, about 8 degrees, not down, but up, because if the ball is falling, you've got to counteract it with a little bit of up movement, and you've got to coil this body a little bit. You can't face the net. Keep your chin up, hit at the peak of the reach out in front of you, and hit up about 8 degrees. Now I'm going to show you exactly the effects of that shot with a different court angle. This is a great angle to find out how to hit an overhead. When you're hitting from here, you're 21 feet back away from this net. Now it's 43 feet to this point, a foot past that line. And you'll hit that spot if a lob is coming to you at a 45-degree angle. Your racket head is vertical, and you go up about 8 degrees. 8 degrees up with your overhead, that ball will land at this spot, only 43 feet from where you hit it. So you want to hit up, not down on overheads. That's the secret. Well, we talked about great doubles players having quick feet, but I got to tell you, folks, The great ones I've known also have very quick hands. Good women's doubles is fast, furious, and exciting. This is why you need quick hands. When you watch it in slow motion, you'll see how this point developed. This is where the problems began. Melanie stops on her volley. She should be running through her volley, so the next shot she hits, she's going to be right on top of the net because she hits a very nice ball at Luzanne's feet. But you're going to see the point ended with Diane missing the shot, but actually it all started right there with Melanie not being ready to move forward. If Melanie had run through her volley, look, she would have been right here to juice Sue, but she wasn't. She's back there too far. See where she is? Now she's going to have to come back to Luzanne on a fairly defensive volley. Defensive because she's hitting on her back foot. She's going to raise that ball, and you can't raise the ball to Luzanne. She won't let you get away with that. She's trying to get 2 steps, but she only gets 1, but she still gets a nice high volley. When she gets it up here, where's her target? Right there. And Diane, you better have fast hands. Diane has fast hands, but she simply does not have enough time. Look at her position. She's stuck. Her knees are straight. She can't step forward, and she's going to block the ball. When you block it, you're going to hit a very easy shot for the other player. Sue doesn't have to do too much. Nice, easy shot she's got. So she throttles the forehand as hard as she can back at Diane. This time, Diane does not have sufficient time. The point is lost, and it all started when Melanie did not run through her volley. Once competition begins, you're only as good as your practice session. So you've got to get out there and drill, drill, drill. I call this my quick hands rapid fire drill. I hit 4 balls in a row at Wendy. She comes in, and she's going to try to keep her elbows out in front and the racket head high. Let's take a look at what she does. First one, the racket's ready, but the second one, she's not. Third one ready, she drops the racket head. 2 out of 4. That's not bad, Wendy. Let's watch it in slow motion with another camera. Watch. Now, Wendy comes in. She's got the racket up. She's right in there. She's got the racket head. Perfect. Now, hit the volley and leave your racket right there. But take a look at what happens. The arm comes all the way down, and you'll see it go right in against her body here. Now, the problem is another ball is going to be coming. Her racket's supposed to be up here, but it's not, and so she's going to be in deep trouble. Watch. She gets the racket head up, but it's way too late. It's on the way up, but the ball's already going by her. Now she's got the racket up, though, so she should be ready for number 3. She is. She's got it. Now just leave it there, Wendy. You're home free for the 4th ball. Wendy, you're dropping it again. Look where your arm is, Wendy. You're going to be in deep trouble. Now Wendy's racket is rising again, but all the energy going up. She can't be going forward. She's too late, misses number 4. Big lesson here. Later on, Wendy comes back in this drill to get 4 out of 4. This is even a tough drill for 5.0 player Flash Wilkerson. Now watch Judy Christie. She's a fine volleyer. Watch the racket. It stays up, even though she hits off center. Darn nice shot. It will never go into the net. Now she's in perfect position. Her elbows are out. If she just turns a little bit more sideways, it would help. But her racket head is up, right on target. She mishits a little bit, but right here's the beginning of the end. The racket that fell down. Look at the arm. Now she's going to have deep trouble getting up for the next shot. Watch. See, now she's way behind. She's out of there.
Once you look away, you got it.
One more. Come on, Judy. Volleyers with a tight shoulder usually hit the ball down into the net. Let's take a look at what you can do with a loose shoulder. One of the first things to keep in mind is you want a free shoulder here. So many of the volleyers are doing this, and that's not in their best interest because this will pull down. You want the shoulder to be free so you can bring the racket head back up again. So let's take a look at how that would look. So I'm going up, here. Now just a little swing, shoulder swing. That's all you need, not much more than that. But not this. Karen's a super volleyer, But if you'll notice that her shoulder is way too tight, the upper arm is not free to swing. That means she has to be in perfect position for every ball. That's too tough. Allison Craig, same problem. The upper arm, look how close it is to the body. She's not free. She doesn't have a loose shoulder. As a result, the upper arm stays close to the body. When that happens, the elbow stays in close, and that has a tendency to lay the racket head back like that. Now she's swinging on an arc. And when you swing on an arc, it's dangerous because if you're too far out in front on the volley, which so often happens when you're facing the net, you pull the ball down into the net. And that's exactly what happened on this volley. Sometimes your opponent doesn't want to come to the net, but you can't let them get away with that.
That's why I don't come in.
You see, Jeanette says that's why she doesn't go into the net, because she loses points.
Explains why I don't normally come into the net.
We should be listening to that. You don't want to let her play the way she wants to play. You want to make her play a style that she doesn't want to play. Now, if you're going to play with her, then you'd like to have her play the style she likes. But if you're against her, you want to hit short and then attack the net. Now she's got to come in and take a short ball, but she can't lob it conveniently. So now you could crowd a short ball. Now, say she runs back, because I get this all the time. People say, yeah, but she hit a short ball, and then she ran back again, so it didn't work. Well, you bring them up again, and they run back. Then again they run back, and pretty soon they vomit. And so, you know, they sooner or later, right? They gotta stay up and fight it out. Anything that I've seen in life that's worth doing well, and it's a difficult task, usually demands courage.
Now, how do you muster the courage to take a volley and take a step, and another volley and a step, and to get your face right out there where all the action is happening? What is it that we think about that doesn't let us do that, but we know that's where we should be on the court, to close off the shot, and you have so many angles open to you at that point when you are tight on the net?
No, I think that's the biggest question right now that one could ask. Look at Monica Seles. I got our cameraman to stand on a wobbly egg crate just to get this interview because Monica has her own problem with the
It's just
volley.
bugging me that I don't, always call the baseline player. And it's difficult, even when you see a lot of other baseline players when they come in, they're not comfortable in front of the net, and that's the same with me. That's where really I would be the most happiest if I would one day improve.
You know, I've known Monica since she was 8 years old, and why she's great is because she recognizes her weaknesses and she goes after it. I have no doubt about it. One day she's going to be a great volleyer. I love Monica. You know, one of the greatest players in the history of the game, she still knows she's got to get out there and work on her volley. Now watch Sue. We're going to play her 2 points. This one is not her best. She stops right there and volleys. Her opponent gets her face right up into the net and puts the ball away. Now watch this next point and you'll see Sue corrects her own error. Sue has a house full of trophies, and here's why. She gets in and keeps moving right through the ball. Pow! Another trophy. Well, that about wraps it up for Women's Doubles 1. We're working on Women's Doubles 2 already. We got some fun research projects to show you, make you even better. But keep this in mind. If you just change 1 or 2 things that we've shown you in this video, it can change your life. I take my hat off to you for just being who you are and being part of the game right now. You're okay the way you are, but if you could just make a couple more changes, you will be such a different player. You'll be able to make a quantum jump in your game. And remember also, try to laugh a little bit. 50% of all the people who played this game today lost. And if you can laugh a little bit, then you're going to be famous by Friday. Laugh and win, that's my motto.